You're developing so quickly that like something, if something lasts months, by the time you're getting towards the end of it, like you don't like the things that you did at the beginning anymore, right?
Kirby Ferguson is one of the original creators, way before this was even a real term. Back in 2009, he was there at the forefront of the DSLR revolution, and he forged new paths by financing his series on Kickstarter. I followed him since then and saw how he evolved and how his style changed, but I'm still very, very inspired by him. Now I had the chance to chat with him, and I'm super excited to share this with you.
My name is Kirby Ferguson, and I am a filmmaker and speaker and writer. I'm best known for the series Everything is a Remix, which ran from 2010 to 2012, but is getting relaunched, rebooted, and redone right now. And I also made a feature documentary called This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory about conspiracy theories in America.
There's two reasons I really wanted to chat with you a little bit. And the first thing is just like the internet has its way of like pushing out content, and I feel like that the pace is always like increasing. But like when I watch your content and when I watch you over the years, it seems like you're just producing on your own like timeline, regardless of that. Yeah. And the other thing is like I feel like you are part of kickstarting this whole creator economy. Yeah. So just kind of want to get your take on where it came from and where it is now.
People talk about like the creator economy a lot now, right? And that didn't either. I don't think it really existed when I started. Like, I'm not sure that Kickstarter existed when I started Everything is a Remix. I don't think it did. It was a noisy world then, but like a lot quieter than it is now, right? Like in that era, if you did something good, you could get attention just for the mere fact that it was good on the internet. That was enough at the time. Now I see all sorts of stuff that's good and people don't necessarily see it. Like it was easier back then, but it also took more imagination to do it back then. So basically I still like, I've never been able to crank out content. It's just, I've tried it in the past. I did a weekly video series for a while, and it just slowly turned into like the videos would take, a month or whatever. It just like making stuff fast is just not my bag. It's just personal. It's just not how it's not the kind of content that I'm interested in seeing, and it's not the kind of content that I'm interested in making.
It seems like you really understand who you are and the way how you like to work.
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah.
That's not what I was trying to say, but like
you'll get it. No, you'll get it.
Was there?
No, you'll get there too. If you don't feel that way, it will come. I would say to anybody listening, like if you'll get there. Like as you get older, you'll get that sort of self-awareness about how you work and your shortcomings and your strengths and all that.
With understanding yourself, do you also evolve like the way how you work, like how you get certain things done? I know in some of your videos you kind of see like an endless list of notes and all these like things. Do you have any like systems in place to keep track of everything?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's changed a lot. Like for a long time, I used an application called Scrivener on the Mac. And it's fantastic. It's on Windows as well. Scrivener is fantastic. I made a lot of videos with Scrivener. Basically, it's just the genius of Scrivener. It's very simple, but it lets you make longer documents out of little documents, right? So you can have little pieces of text and you can arrange them and move them around, and then they form a longer piece of text. It's a very simple thing, and there's lots of other applications, I'm sure, that do similar things now. And then I recently switched to a program called Obsidian, which is more of a fluid. It's almost more like you're making your own little Wikipedia or something. Like you link documents together, and rather than just dealing with little document icons, you're dealing more with text, and you can link to different related concepts, almost like a website. It's almost like you're building your own personal little website, and it's just more fluid than the Scrivener type approach. I haven't been using that long, but I think it's going to stick. I think it's what I'm gonna stick with. And Obsidian is free; anybody can run it. But there's all sorts of awesome applications. I definitely go for long periods where I'm using the same thing. And then I think like every once in a while, you got to mix it up and try something different, right? Like it's good to switch up your tools and try something out, at least for a while. But in my case, I've switched up a lot of tools lately, and I'm just using different stuff now.
To me, from an outside perspective, it seems like you're just like this rock in a river and everything around you moves and you just move at your own pace.
I love it. That's great.
But one thing for me that I have a really hard time with is like keeping engaged with a project over a long period of time.
Yes.
How do you work on a project for what is 8 years for conspiracy
Yeah.
theory?
Yeah. I had that problem as well. Like I think it gets easier. I think that's another thing that comes with age. It's really tough at the beginning. Like I remember it was hard for me when I was starting out to stick with something because you're developing so quickly that like something if something lasts months, by the time you're getting towards the end of it, like you don't like the things that you did at the beginning anymore, right? So part of it for me, I think, is just stubbornness. Like that project you mentioned, this is not a conspiracy theory. I worked on it for 8 years, like not constantly. I was mostly not working on it, but it lived for 8 years. And part of that is just is just stubborn willfulness, like I'm just gonna find a way to make this work. Like I have to finish it. I can't not finish it. The real thing that's tricky is staying excited about it. Like, yes, you can keep doing it, but are you still genuinely excited and interested by the project? So if something's going to last a while, it's got to be challenging. You've got to have room to grow in it for sure. So I think like Everything is Remixed was a project that lasted a couple of years. Like it went on for a bit. So there was plenty of depth to it. There were lots of places to move within that topic. So I think part of the key is you've got to choose something where you can grow within it. So it's got to be something that, like when you started, you're probably not good enough to finish it, right? Like you have to grow in the process of making it. And that's what will carry you through to completing it, that you have evolved yourself in the process of making it.
I was actually really surprised earlier this year when you sent out a newsletter that it is finally done. This is not a conspiracy theory. I had no idea this was still going on at this point.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point where you like just wanted to abandon it? What kept you like actually finishing it?
No, there was never that point, honestly. Like there definitely were dark points in it where it was like, man, this is just I am really in deep here. And you're kind of I was kind of like in denial for a while, right? Like, wow, this is going to take a really long time and there's no way out. But there was never a thought I never ever thought, oh, I'm not going to do it or whatever, because, it just had to happen. I can't quit my own project.
That is something that comes from inside?
That it's late, I can live with. That it took a long time, I can live with. That I gave up on it, that I can't tolerate, right? Like that won't sit with me long term. The shame of taking too long with a project, which there is, right? Like when you take way too long with a project, there's some amount of shame or embarrassment or something that you feel about that, right? That's better than not doing the project. That's better than bailing. I'll take, of the two choices, I'll take that one.
So the trends usually go to like pushing out new content, new, and everything something shiny. But it seems like you're going completely the opposite way right now with Remix and like just going back to old material. Can you talk a little bit about your thought process there?
It's just because it worked. Like I think everybody out there is just, when you get something that works, you stick with it, right? So I think what lots of people are getting rewarded for is you put out the new thing and you get some views and you get some ad money or whatever, and that's what you keep doing, right? I have some problems with continuing to do something because temperamentally I'm just can't do it. I can't keep, like how these people make like kind of targeted, like where you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't understand how people can do that. I just can't. I don't want to live that life. I don't want that job. So there are like there's temperament limitations that I have for doing certain sorts of content. That's part of why I won't do that kind of stuff. But also, Everything is Remixed just works. It's just really super tough to compete with, right? Like what happens is the new videos will briefly be more popular than Everything is Remixed, and then it goes back to Everything is a Remix being at the top of my stats. Like it's just the thing that people want. People keep watching it. So I felt like I knew I was going to do something with it. So it's been 10 years since the original video. And at this point, I was like, well, I'm just going to do it again. I'm just going to like retell the story in a way that is exciting, engaging for me right now, not the way that I did it the first time. While at the same time, giving people being pretty authentic to the original version of it and keeping the aspects of it that people were excited about back then.
But do you think the general view on remix has changed since the inception of it?
Absolutely. I mean, it rules now. Like lots of times when I read content about creativity or whatever, like the everything is remix idea is in it. And I'm not saying that they got it from me or whatever, but like it's the dominant paradigm now. Like it's in the culture, and most people who do creative work know they got the ideas some way or another. So it's just the dominant view in the world now. So I don't know if it was a provocation 10 years ago, right? Like that was a selling point that it was like a subversion of what you thought you knew, right? Whereas now a lot of people know the idea already. So that could be an issue. That's a potential problem with the new series. But I tend to think there's still a lot of people that don't know the idea, and I am hoping I can reach them.
Do you have any inspiring words for creators out there, for creatives who want to make a go of like online videos or anything like that?
Boy, I mean, I would say, gosh, what do I say to that? I mean, it's a jungle out there now, right? Like there's so many people doing it. Like one thing that I would think about, number one, like anybody who wants to do it, who has a passion for it, who has things that they want to communicate, you should absolutely do it. And you certainly shouldn't listen to me or anybody like me. You shouldn't let somebody dissuade you from doing what you need to do. I wouldn't have listened to anybody like me. But the thing that I would just put out there to people who aren't so certain is like there's a lot of people doing this shit now, like it's arguably overserved. And I just wonder, like, are there other ways that you can channel your talent into different things? Like, I think creators have to be concerned about, like, where is the growth? And is there growth in being a content creator on YouTube? Maybe there is. I mean, it depends what you're doing. But definitely something that I would reflect on for young people getting into it is like, where's the growth? Where's their opportunity? What is saturated? Where is there too much going on? Because you can channel your talents and your interests in different directions, right? So I don't want to be a killjoy for people. And again, do what you got to do. But I do think having a critical eye towards where you're going to put, what direction you want to, the ship of life, like what direction do you want to head out in? Give that some thought and be critical about it. And don't just see, oh, like these people are being popular and lots of people like them. And I want to do that too. Like that's a shit reason. Like if you're just doing it to be popular, I would really think about that because that's the chances of that happening are not high. And you just never fill that hole. Like you're just trying to be popular day after day, week after week, month after month. Like that's no kind of life. You're better off getting a job and doing something else. So definitely give some critical thought to what road you're going to head down.
Beautiful. That's, I think, great closing words.
Excellent.
Any place that you want people to find you?
Yes, you should go to everythingisaremix.info or just Google Everything is Remix and you'll find me, and you can watch the new series is launching on September 7th. So you can watch the new version of part one. It's just the first part that's out now. It's a 4-part series. So the first part is coming out shortly. And we have new shirts and all sorts of new fun merch in our brand new shop that you can get as well if you're into the project.
Thank you so much, Kirby, for taking the
My
time.
pleasure,
This was a
Valentine.
pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure.